Hi, ducks. Welcome to lesson 3.3, comparing and ordering decimals. Let's take a minute to review the lesson scale. By the end of this lesson, we want you to be able to read, write, and compare decimals to the thousandths place value, and be able to record your results of your comparisons using symbols. Take a minute to pause the video, review the scale, and record your beginning scale in your notebook. Let's take a look at the place value chart that Miss Addison reviewed in lessons 3.1 and 3.2. We will be working all the way to the thousandth place value in this lesson. Let's look at our first I do problem. I'm going to present you with two strategies today, and our first strategy is using an understanding of place value. So the first thing when you're using this strategy is you are going to line up the decimal points of the numbers being compared. So let's start with our first number, 3.477 and 3.492. And I'm going to line them up so that I have their decimal points in the same place. The next step is that I'm going to start at the number farthest to the left and move to the right in each number. So I'm going to start all the way over here on the left because this is my farthest left place value. This is the ones place value. And I'm going to compare the digits in each place value position until the digits are different. So as we can see in this first place value, both of our numbers are a 3. They are the same. So we're next going to move over to the 10th place. Okay, remember when we move past these decimals, we are now in parts of a whole. Okay, these are parts. This is the 10th, and this is a part of a whole. So as you will see, we have 4/10 in each one of our numbers. And so we're going to move to the 100th place value. And you will notice that we now have numbers that are different. We have a 7, so we have 700ths, and we have 900ths. And so we're going to compare this number only to the 100th place. We don't need to go on to the thousandth place because we found the place value farthest to the right that is different. And the number with the greater number in the 100th place is the number that has the greater value. So when we're comparing 3.477 to 3.492, we're going to know that 3.492 is greater than 3.477 because the 900th is greater than the 700th. Let's move on to my next example. We have 1.780 and we have 1.788. Let's do the same thing with lining up our digits so that the decimal point is in the same place. I'm going to go ahead and erase this so that we have room to write. Okay, so we have 1.780 and we have 1.78. And if we're following our understanding of place value strategy, we're going to first line up the decimals, which I did. And we're going to start at the number farthest to the left and move to the right in each one of these two numbers. And we're going to compare the digits in each place value position until we find a digit that is different. So once again, we are going to start here in the ones place value. And we notice that both digits are a 1. So we're going to move to the right to the tenths place value, and we notice that they are both a 7. And next we're going to move to the right to the hundredths place value, and they're both an 8. So we're going to have to visit our last place value column, which is the thousandths place value. And you will notice that 1.780 is in the first number, and 1.788 is the second number. And since 8 thousandths are larger than 0 thousandths, we can conclude that 1.780 is less than 1.788. Let's go on to using our second strategy, which is using a place value chart. Very similar to strategy 1, except for it's visually organized for you in a chart. So the number with the greatest digit in the greatest place value position is the larger number. It has a greater value. And I put a note in here. If the digits in the greatest place value position are the same, you need to move to the next lesser place value position and compare those digits. And this is a big if. So let's take a look at these numbers, and we will start in our hundreds place this time because that is the farthest place value to the left. We always want to start over here on the left. And if we start in the hundredths and they are both 300ths, we move to the tens. They are both 4 tens. We move to the ones. Okay, we're moving over to the ones. They're both 2 ones. Now we have to move beyond the decimal point. I am not sure why this little guy got in here. Adios. And we're going to go over to the tenths, which they are both 1/10. So once again, they are the same. But if we go to the hundredths, we're going to notice that they are different. So the hundredths for this particular question is where we're going to stop, because you'll notice that the thousandths are the same. So if I have 800ths in the first number, and I have 0 hundredths in the second number, I can conclude that 342.188 is greater than, okay, or I can do the greater than symbol, 342.108. Let's do a problem together. Miss Addison, Mrs. Loveland, Mr. Loveland, Mrs. Taylor, and Miss Walker are entering a contest with their pet inchworms. Using the information in the chart below, order the length of their pet inchworms from least to greatest. Okay, so you'll notice we have all of your teachers right here as contestants. And we have the names of each inchworm. We have Sheila, Sheldon, Turbo, Clarence, and Matilda. And we have the length in inches of each one of their worms. So we're going to start once again over here on the left of each number. And we notice that each one of these numbers has 2 ones. So each one of them is 2 point something inches. So next we're going to have to look beyond the decimal to the tenth place value, and we'll notice that some of them have a 4, but some of them we will notice have a 3. These two have a 3. So we know that if it has a 3, 3 is less than 4, which means those are going to be some of the least amount of length for the worms. So now we're going to look at Turbo and Clarence, because remember, we're ordering these from least to greatest. So if we look at Turbo and we look to the next place value in the hundredths, we notice there is 100th. And if we look at Clarence, there is 200th. So 200th is more than 100th. So that means that Mr. Loveland's inchworm has the least amount of length at 2.316. Okay, so we're going to say he is in 5th place. Okay. Next, we have Mrs. Taylor's inchworm, and she clearly is now in 4th because these are the two that we were comparing for the least. So 2.329. Now we need to look at Sheila, Sheldon, and Matilda because they all had 4 tenths. Now let's look at the hundredth. Well, now if we look at the hundredths, we notice that they all have 9 hundredths. So what do? We look at the very last place value, which is the thousandth. And if I look at the thousandths, you will notice that Sheila, Miss Addison's farm, has 5,000. Miss Loveland's has 9, and Miss Walker's has 8. Well, if we're ordering least to greatest, Miss Addison's would now have the next least amount, so she would be in 3rd place at 2.495. Miss Walker's would be in 2nd place with 2.498, and Mrs. Loveland's would be the very largest one at 2.499 inches. So this is the least, and that would be Mr. Loveland's Turbo, all the way to the greatest, which is Mrs. Loveland's Sheldon, at 2.4. Okay, lastly, I want you to try a problem. Go ahead and pause the video, and when we come back, we'll go ahead and check our answers. Okay, and we're back. So we have an inchworm contest that has gotten heated, and now it's time to decide the heavyweight champion. That's right. Your teachers bring their inchworms to the scale and have the following results. Sheila weighs in at a whopping 2.390 grams. Sheldon at a whopping 2.177 grams. We have Turbo at 2.339 grams. We have Clarence at 3.222 grams. And we have Matilda at 2.461 grams. So first of all, we want to know which inchworm is the heavyweight champion with the greatest mass. And we want to know which inchworm is the lightest. And lastly, we want to order the masses of the inchworm from greatest to least. Well, if we order them from greatest to least, then we'll know which one is the heaviest or that has the greatest mass and which one would be the lightest. So let's go ahead and check our answer. And we should have Turbo at 2.177 grams. Then we should now have, let's see who's next. Now we have, oh no, I'm sorry, this is Sheldon. This is Sheldon. We have Turbo at 2.339 grams. We have Sheila at 2.390 grams. Then we have Matilda, okay, that's mine, Matilda at 2.461 grams. And then lastly, we have the champion, which is Clarence at 3.222 grams. So if we want to know the greatest, that would be Clarence. This is the greatest. And if we want to know the one that's the lightest, that would be Sheldon, because this is the least. Go ahead and record your scale now that you have reviewed the lesson. Please put it in your notebook, and we will see you in class tomorrow.